People need an income that's guareteed to them.
If you lose money to taxes, you're never getting that money back.
You need to get serious about adding some lower risk.
Greed. I don't like greed.
The thing to be afraid of, honestly, is the thing that we're not thinking of, the Black Swan event.
There's a tsunami coming. Bye.
Welcome to Retirement Coffee Talk with Charisse Rivers.
Just coffee talk.
There's a lot of noise, a lot of chatter. Who do you listen to? Who do you not listen to? You have to stay focused.
A fun and informative look at the issues of wealth, retirement, and protecting your life savings.
These advisors out there that were trained to sell, and have all these fees. They don't want to talk about this product, so they make less money.
And now, Retirement Coffee Talk with Charisse Rivers.
Hello again, and welcome to Retirement Coffee Talk with Charisse Rivers at Zinnia Wealth. Online, as always, zinniawealth.com, ZINNIA wealth.com. Charisse is here once again as we go through some of the issues of retirement, the things that might concern you, worry you, even kind of scare you. Hopefully, we could help you with that. Charisse, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Good
I got
deal.
a lot of rest over the weekend.
Good for you. Yeah.
I know. I gave my kids like a free day and I said, do you guys want to be really active today or do you just want to hang around the house and be low key and rest up? And they're like, you know what? We just want to hang around the house. I'm like, I love when I always give them an option. So once a month, we'll do that, or sometimes once every 2 months. And it gives me some like brain power to reset, and we'll just do stuff in the backyard and just lay really low and sometimes stay in our jammies all day and play games and cards.
Well,
and
I was just going to say,
let them have their time.
You're asking a teenager whether you want to be active or be a load? Really?
Well, it's only once in a while. I could just tell they come off a hard week, and I think us parents feel like we always have to like be Johnny on the spot. We got to do this. We got to plan this, and it just happened to be one of those weekends we didn't have to be anywhere, and it was glorious. And they even said, wow, this was a really nice day, Mom. Thank you.
My wife has said to me, she goes, I don't think I could have been a mom in the Etsy and Pinterest era. There's just no way. I can't keep up. There's no way because my daughter is trying to do it.
Yeah. Well, we also went to the Thorn in Gainesville. It was really great. Mm-hmm. It was a little Broadway show. And my kids, I was so surprised because my 11-year-old, my son, I was like, do you know what's going on right here? And he knew every little step of the Bible because that's what they went through on this show. And I even got a little lost. I'm like, what part of this? And then I figured it out really quickly. And then I asked Eli, and you could tell he already figured it out before me. I'm like, wow. It just was a pretty impressive show. And the kids were like well tuned in. So
very nice.
It was the first show Eli's ever sat through and enjoyed it.
Love it.
With his ADD.
All right. Well, something you had to sit through once again was tax season, and we've made our way through that. And I do this story every year because, you know, we do this show mainly for people getting ready for retirement and saying, hey, you probably need some assistance here. You need a financial advisor. Let me show you what Charisse does and see if it's a good match. Then there's shows that we do that are for kind of retirees. And this is where I want to kind of focus right now, because as you get into retirement, all these years of making high income and you had to pay in April, and then you get into retirement and say, hey, I'm not making that big money anymore. I should get a refund, or at least should be a wash this year. And then you get into retirement and you find you're still writing checks. And that's a shock
forever
to some people.
and ever, amen.
Charisse, what can we do about this? I mean, it's a shock to some people. Do you have clients that are still writing checks to Uncle Sam? And is there anything that you can help them? Is this a temporary thing? Can we gradually make our way out of this?
You know what? A very large number of my clients, as they're putting their tax plans together, do you know that they could pay very little in taxes 5 to 10 years from now? To some of them, really no taxes based on our tax plan. But they have to put the work in, they have to see the math, and we just got to rejigger it every year just to make sure it lines up. Because if you live 30 years in retirement, I mean, let's face it, people are living at 85, 90 years old, right? And with artificial intelligence out there, I mean, and all this new medical stuff, we're probably going to live a little bit longer. And so, or at least push it to 90, in my opinion. So that means we're going to pay the tax man longer. And if you have IRAs and 401ks, you are forced to pull money out of those accounts every year. And the older you get, the percentage you are forced to pull out actually goes up. So you might start at 3.65% when you're 73. That's the year you are forced to pull money out of your IRAs and 401ks if you haven't yet. But by the time in your late 80s, you are pulling out 8%. Right. And can you imagine having $1 million portfolio in 15 years, conservatively going to 2 million? So let's say you're 73 and you got $1 million, you're pulling 4% out. That's 40 grand. By the time you're 85, let's say it grew to 2 million, right? I would say that's a very conservative portfolio, by the way.
Okay.
Now you're pulling out 8% of that 2 million. You're pulling $160,000 out every year. It started at 40,000, and then 15 years later, 20 years later, now you're pulling 160, and you cannot stop that. And your taxes go sky high. And it's probably when taxes are higher, if that ever changes. And on top of that, Medicare. Your provisional income formula with Social Security, your Medicare premium will go from $200 a month to $400, maybe $650 a month based on today's rules. So when you're in your late 80s, you're not going to be a happy camper, and it's going to happen sooner. You don't have to wait till your late 80s for Medicare penalties to hit you. You're not going to be happy. All I know, when I'm 85 years old, if all of a sudden my Part B premium goes from 200 to 400 or 600, I'm going to be ticked off. I'm like, what could I have done to avoid this? And on top of that, when somebody passes away, hey, somebody's going to pass away if you're married. Taxes go up 8 out of 10 times. It can go up 2, 4, 6. I've seen $14,000 more based on where they're drawing money from. So this is why we want to start working on a tax plan now, so we can pay potentially less in the future, and or maybe none, right? Just depending on how hard we work and put our heads down, because it's likely that when now husband and wife pass away, and or if you're single or widow, and you pass away, the money's going to go to your kiddos and your family. And guess what's going to happen then?
More taxes.
They're going to be dealing with the tax bill because they can no longer stretch that IRA for the rest of their life. They got to cash that out over 10 years. And so the tax man just gets worse and worse and worse. And the plan, if you don't plan it, it's a never-ending tax burden. But if you could pay the taxes now at a lower tax rate than your surviving spouse, and then your beneficiaries, let's say you could save 20% of your total assets to the tax man after death. Right? We do the math so we can help you understand that. So you have to come in and see us, because we do these tax plans for free. And it's very valuable because it's going to depend on your income, where it's deriving from, where did you save your money, a tax deferred bucket, a tax free bucket, a taxable bucket. So all this, it's not cookie cutter, and your CPAs aren't going to do this for you. We are one of the only firms that do this in this county and surrounding counties that I am aware of. And that's why so many people come to us, because they like, well, should I or shouldn't I? So no, now, not in 5 years from now, you're going to be sitting there saying, if you didn't come in and see us, should we have at least looked? Doesn't mean we had to do it, but we should at least know ahead of time. If I knew what I know now 10 years ago, I would have been doing so many things differently for my own clients. So we've learned and walked the walk. So don't be the client or person out there that, if you know what I'm talking about now and it's still an issue in 5 and 10 years, don't be that person that puts your head in the sand and just totally ignores it. So tax planning is critical. It's one of the 5 pillars in retirement. It's not just about your investment plan. The tax plan is, in my opinion, you can save hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions in taxes, and leave so much more in a legacy with a plan.
We say it all the time that a retirement plan isn't a retirement plan without a tax plan. So let's do the math on that for you as well. We've moved from pensions over to 401ks, and that's basically where many of us are saved our money. And that's why we're running into this problem, is that's all tax deferred money. And so you got to pay the taxes on it when you get into retirement. That's where this problem really starts. So let's get ahead of it. Sit down with Charisse and go through, what does your tax bill look like just next year, year after that? But what does your tax bill look like 10, 15, 20 years from now? Let's figure that out and see if we can head off some of this pain point that we talk about here every day. It is ZinniaWealth.com to sit down and take a look at the website. There's a place there. There's a box. It's a gold box. It says complimentary retirement consultation. That's basically a no cost, no obligation meeting to sit down and talk about your retirement. What have you done? What have you saved? Where is it? How's it working? And what does it mean for you in the future, especially when it comes to taxes? 833-368-3680 is the number. 833-368-3680. Well, if you open up the history books, I found this kind of interesting interesting. You know, I don't want to mix a whole lot of politics into the show, but we all know that politics does affect the economy. We're going through that right now. Okay, so for U.S. presidents, if you have a 4-year term, that means you got 16 quarters. And over 75 years, the last 75 years, the worst economic quarter for every president is the second year and the second quarter. And that's where we are right now. So, Charisse, I was just wondering, these things are fluid. The economy goes up, the economy goes down, gas prices go up, gas prices go down, inflation does the same thing. Do you work your portfolios so it's almost like a sliding scale that you make adjustments when these things happen? Or is it just I know you hate the term set it and forget it, but tell me how you build portfolios for the ups and downs of the economy and the market.
Right. So here's the deal. If that happens every second quarter, the second year of every new president, then we know there's not a whole lot we need to do, right? Because now we're chasing returns and now we're guessing. So we don't want to be a market timer. We build portfolios based on your risk tolerance, and then we manage portfolios based on that. So if you have a lot of risk or you have low risk or no risk, that's how we manage portfolios. We don't want to start guessing and doing this market timing thing, because what if one quarter it didn't happen, right? And let's say it was a gangbusters year and we were already projecting, hey, well, this is the rule of thumb. We need to go to cash. Well, and then we missed the run up. So we just like people to know, if you have a diversified portfolio, if you have a safe money bucket, a moderate bucket, even if you wanted a risk bucket, it shouldn't matter, right? When it matters, Randy, is when the stock market starts crashing. And we have a 2007 to 2009 knife drops, roller coaster ride. That's when our portfolios kick into high gear, because we have different portfolios. For example, we have buckets that can't lose. We have buckets that are managed every month and have exit strategies of 50% or 100%. If we have a worldwide market decline, that's up to you, how you want that set up. We have a dividend bucket that trades quarterly. We have an emerging market bucket, stock bucket, those trade quarterly. We have a Bitcoin bucket. No, most people, I'm not advising going into Bitcoin. But if you have a little bit of each of these buckets, and then one of my other favorite buckets is my dual directional structured note bucket, where we could potentially make money on the way down. And you certainly can make money on the way up. It's a great bucket that has a little bit more liquidity features. So if we sprinkle a little bit all of this in based on your risk tolerance, then there shouldn't be a big issue, right? Because the biggest issue is when markets go down, Randy, is where's my income going to be derived from? How will I take income if I lose 40% in my portfolio, which will happen to most retirees who are in the stock market, except for ours? So because of our strategic plan and our allocation strategy, it's just not a 60-40 portfolio. The income strategy dictates how we invest your portfolio and how much money you need now versus later, because here's the deal. We want to front load your income. And to do that, we can't put those dollars at very large risk, right? So we want moderate risk to low risk when it comes to your go-go years, your first 10 years in retirement. So again, not all portfolios are created equal. They are not cookie cutter here at Zinnia, like most people would expect in most firms. So again, market cycles, they go up and down. We do not want to time it. We just want a diversified strategy that's more than a 60-40 portfolio, or that's more than just the annuity portfolio, more than just the bank portfolio, right? So that we can bob and weave as we're having big meltdown moments.
You remember that commercial for Michelin tires where they had the little baby in the tire and the little baby was smiling as the tire was going along, and it went through snow, and then it went through rain, and then it went through mud, and it went through everything, and little baby was
all-weather tires.
All-weather tire. We want to make you an all-weather portfolio and have you be a happy little baby, a happy little retiree inside the tire. I mean, in a way, I know that's simple, but in a way, that's really, for those of you who've lived in the North and you remember all-weather tires. We used to have studded snow tires I remember way up in Minnesota where I'm from. But in any event, we have to have something that's going to handle whatever the market throws your way. We always talk about this all the time. Market headwinds, inflation, taxes, healthcare, all these different things that come at you. You got to kind of have an all-weather portfolio to deal with it. Instead of just trying to guess here and there and trying to figure out what you move, let's have that all-weather portfolio. Give Charisse a call. Give her a look on the website here, and let's sit down and talk about your portfolio, your retirement plan. It's ZinniaWealth.com, ZINNIA Wealth.com. There's a gold box there. It says complimentary retirement consultation. You click on that and you kind of go through the prompts there. And we're just going to basically ask you for a little contact information there. And so that we can reach out to you and say, hey, what's on your mind? What's your concern? And maybe get a date on a calendar. Or you can skip all that and just give us a call. It's 833-368-3680, 833-368-3680. So you hear these formulas out there about how much you should spend in retirement. And a lot of them you'll see that's been there for an awfully long time. You need 80% of your working year's income in order to be happy in retirement. There's a new survey out there from T. Rowe Price, and they say a lot of people are living on 66% of their working year's income. What's your reaction, Charisse, when you see that people their income's going down, 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 down in retirement? I don't like the sound of that.
I think there's big banks and brokerage firms out there that don't want you to spend your money because they get to keep less.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Okay.
Because let's say you make $100,000 and the average was, hey, when I retire, I'm going to need $80,000 a year to live on, which is legitimate. And then now they're saying, no, let's do 66%.
That seems like a pretty big hit.
So that would be $66,000 on $100,000. My question to you is, if you're making $100,000 at work, we know after your 401k contributions, taxes, and everything, you're probably netting out $70,000 to $80,000. That's your bring home, right? Potentially. But what if you could retire and still get $100,000 a year in income? That's what I'm talking about. Because why are people talking about lower numbers when the first 10 years of retirement in your go-go years, because there's going to be no-go years and then there's really going to be slow-go years, right? So we go go-go years, slow-go years, no-go years. So why not for the first 10 years of retirement, we blow the roof off and we do 100%. And or more. And the reason is because the confidence level is low. After a stock market just continues to take off, and we know there's a potential crash, especially on the back end. So people will start to lower their income wants. They make sure their needs are covered, but their wants, they lower because they're like, maybe this is a time to shift gears and those types of things. I don't care if the stock market is booming or going down. We front load your income. If you come into us, I'm not going to guarantee it, but I can say 9 out of 10 times, or maybe even 10 out of 10, it's pretty close, that we're going to show you a way to get 20 to 30, sometimes as high as 40% more in income than you ever thought and imagined you can collect. And I know you're thinking this is insanity. No, I learned this 15 years ago and 10 years ago. I really figured out the math on this. And this is what our clients are doing. So don't settle for less. Let's plan for more. Let's see if we can plan for more. Because isn't retirement all about enjoying those go-go years, enjoying the slow-go years, and enjoying the no-go years? You're going to enjoy those no-go years more if you really take off during your go-go years and you do it right. Because this is what happens, Randy. We're past our go-go years now. Now you're 75 years old and you're in the slow-go years. And all of a sudden, things hurt. Body hurts. You don't feel as whippersnapper as you used to be. Trust me, I hear it all the time. And then you're like, well, my portfolio continues to grow. It's doing really good. It continues to grow. And you're thinking, why do we have this much money here right now? I didn't know we were going to have this much money here right now. Why didn't we spend more during the go-go years when we're 60, 65 years old? This conversation happens like clockwork almost in every household if you do not have a financial advisor that focuses on income and the investment plan. And I know why people don't do it, Randy, is because we got to save for long-term care. What if one of us go into long-term care? Well, yeah, that could be costly, but let's really figure out the math because we build that into the income plan. So we will base on how much you spend in your go-go years based on how much we might project we need for long-term care if we ever need that, right? Some of you are like, well, I want to leave a big legacy. How much do you want to leave? You want to leave $1 million, $2 million, $4 million? Let's do the math on that. Is it that necessary? So I think it's more of a sticker shock, Randy, when people come in here. They're like, wow, I've never seen a plan like that. They sit back in their seats and they're like, wow, where did you come from? Right? And because we have very sophisticated software that we keep very simple that I've had to rejigger over the years to help people see it. If you don't see it, you don't believe it. So this is why we give these free consultations to build your income plans, your tax plans, because we want you to use it. We know once you see it, you'll be like, wow, I've never seen something like this before. And so we're really proud of it. And let's spend more in our early years. Even if you're like, Charisse, I'm a Dave Ramsey fan and I just have a problem spending because I've saved my whole life. Well, I'm going to teach you some things. You can still be a Dave Ramsey fan, but let me show you what Dave Ramsey doesn't teach you or show you. He gets you to retirement. He doesn't get you past that phase, right? Susie Orman gets you to retirement. She doesn't get you past that phase. That's my job as a retirement professional. I get paid to do this, and boy, are we stinking good at this. And this is why I love coming to work every day, and my team does, and our advisors do, because they feel the same way, because they just know this is different. I've had advisors work with us from other firms, and they're just like, this feels different. I can do this. This makes sense, right? And then you can feel it as a customer coming in. You're like, these people love what they do. These people are actually really good at what they do. Wow, we're getting all of this for free? You mean my last advisor was charging me 1%, and they just did the investment plan, and you're going to charge the same fee, and you're going to do all 5 pillars of retirement in that same price? Yes, that's what we do. That's what retirement planning is all about. And we're happy to do it, and we're honored to do it. We've been doing it for so long, it's like clockwork for us. So we're going to make it easy for you to understand, and we're going to build that plan for you so that you feel comfortable spending more than you ever projected.
You're listening to Retirement Coffee Talk with Charisse Rivers at Zinnia Wealth. Online, zinniawealth.com, ZINNIA wealth.com. You can click on the gold box there. You'll be on your way there. You can also give Charisse a call, 833-368-3680. Get a date on a calendar. Let's talk about your retirement. Let's talk about your paycheck in retirement. I mean, can you imagine yourself some type in your career and you knock on the boss's desk, Mr. Billingsley, I'd like to have a word with you. I'd like to have a 30% cut in pay. Yes, that's right. I want a 30% cut in pay. Who's going to say that? Why would you say that in retirement? You don't want a 30% cut in pay. Come on. Let's sit down and build your retirement paycheck together. Here's the number again, 833-368-3680. Charisse, that is all the time that we have on this one. I'll give you the last word on it.
Well, thank you for tuning in. As usual, as this summer is approaching and it's getting warmer, I'll lose some of you guys because you'll be on the boats and enjoying your vacations. But if you want to spend more in retirement, pay less potentially in taxes, and be more diversified, you're going to want to hear this show. So as usual, live by design and not by default, and we'll see you here next week.
This has been Retirement Coffee Talk. To find out more about how the strategies we've discussed on this program can build the retirement you've been wanting, call Zinnia Wealth at 352-368-3680 or visit us online at zinniawealth.com.
Investment advisory services offered through Zinnia Wealth Advisory, LLC, a registered investment advisor. The firm only conducts business in states where it is properly registered or is excluded from registration requirements. Registration is not an endorsement of the firm by securities regulators and does not mean the advisor has achieved a specific level of skill or ability. Insurance products are offered through Zinnia Wealth Management, LLC, Florida license L078655, and Charisse Rivers, Florida license P037744. Zinnia Wealth Advisory, LLC, and Zinnia Wealth Management, LLC are affiliated entities. The information presented is believed to be current. It should not be viewed as personalized investment advice. All expressions of opinion reflect the judgment of the presenter on the date of the podcast and are subject to change. The information presented is not an offer to buy or sell or a solicitation of any offer to buy or sell any of the securities discussed. You should consult with a professional advisor before implementing any of the strategies discussed. Any legal or tax information provided in this podcast is general in nature. Always consult an attorney or tax professional regarding your specific legal or tax situation. information. Any client experience discussed on this show are unique to that client. Annuity and life insurance guarantees are subject to the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. If you withdraw money from or surrender your contract within a certain time after investing, the insurance company may assess a surrender charge. Withdrawals may be subject to tax penalties and income taxes. Persons selling annuities or other insurance products receive compensation for these transactions. These commissions are separate and distinct from fees charged for advisory services. Insurance products also contain additional fees and expenses. Social Security rules and regulations are subject to change at any time. Always consult with your local Social Security office before acting upon any information provided herein. References to specific investments should not be construed as being past specific recommendations. The returns for various indices discussed in this podcast do not represent the performance of the firm or any of its advisory clients. Returns do not reflect the impact that advisory fees will have on an investment. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. All investment strategies have potential for profit or loss. Different types of investments involve higher and lower levels of risk. There is no guarantee that a specific investment strategy will be suitable or profitable for an investor's portfolio. Historical performance returns for investment indexes and/or categories usually do not deduct transaction and/or custodial charges or advisory fees, which would decrease historical performance results. There are no guarantees that a portfolio will match or outperform a specific benchmark. Investments in fixed income products are subject to liquidity risk, market risk, index rate risk, credit risk, inflation risk, purchasing power risk, and taxation risk. Because bond prices fluctuate continually, their yields change constantly.